Hey YouTube, what's going on? Code here with another video on how to improve performance in esports. Let me just make this perfectly clear. This is not a showcase of my skill, but rather an analysis on sleep and performance. I'll go ahead and jump right into it with how sleep affects performance. Sleep is arguably the greatest impact on performance in gaming. At the onset of sleep deprivation, we see cognitive impairment in the form of decreased alertness, attention, working memory, long-term memory, and decision making. Alertness is crucial for gaming performance. We all know this. Being awake and alert is key to getting kills in game. In addition, if you'll remember back to my how to improve reaction time in Call of Duty, you will remember that attention to relevant cues is one of, if not the most important factors when considering response times. Decrease in response time means a decrease in your ability to locate your target and to hit the kill before they are able to kill you. In addition, long-term memory and decision making are affected by a lack of sleep. Symptoms of these effects are that you will experience a decrease in creativity as well as an inability to have spontaneous and flexible thinking. Flexible thinking is imperative in esports due to the need to adjust your playstyle on the fly. Anytime you hear your teammate call a rotation, you're acting spontaneously and you're acting creatively with the route that you choose to take to get to the next bomb site. I'm mainly focusing on the cognitive impairments that a lack of sleep provides on performance in esports. There are a multitude of other factors that should be considered too, most regarding health. Now that I've touched on some of the symptoms that we experience as far as cognitive impairment when a lack of sleep is experienced, I'm going to touch on how sleep is affected by habits. For a gamer, the biggest impairment on sleep is the fact that we are constantly looking at a monitor. Watching TV, playing video games, using our cell phone, anything with a screen is going to put out harsh blue light. Blue light suppresses melatonin, the sleep hormone. If the sleep hormone is thrown off, so too is our circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythm is the natural wake-sleep cycle. I'd imagine you're starting to see how playing video games for multiple hours a day and your exposure to blue light is having a negative impact on your sleep, thus your performance. Another way that our sleep is affected by our habits is by not having a set bedtime. I know it sounds childish to say that we need to have a set bedtime since we're mostly young adults, but it is important to set a bedtime so that an emphasis is placed on the importance of sleep. Moving on from a bedtime, tobacco and caffeine as well as alcohol consumption within 2 to 3 hours of bed has a negative impact on your sleep. All of these drugs either keep us from falling asleep or once we actually fall asleep, they keep us from going into the deeper stages of sleep. Tobacco and caffeine, for instance, are both stimulants. This means they stimulate our brains to wake up and be alert. The half-life of these products is fairly long, so if you use them 2 to 3 hours before bed, probably going to experience interruptions in your sleep. Alcohol, on the other hand, is a depressant. Its effect on sleep is that it actually inhibits the body, and more specifically the brain, from going into REM sleep. REM sleep is where your brain processes everything it has encountered during that day. REM sleep and stage 4 deep sleep are very important in that they both are the times that we experience the most recovery. In the deeper stages of sleep, we release growth hormone and sort out all of the junk that went on in our day. Another habit that affects our sleep is the catch-up myth. Most people tend to think that if you go to sleep late one night, you can just sleep in, catch up over the weekend, and that will offset the lack of sleep that you had that one night. Chronic sleep deprivation cannot be overcome by one really long sleep session. It can take anywhere from a week to a month, depending on how severe the case of sleep deprivation is, to recover from its effect. The last two habits that affect our sleep are when we take naps late in the day, and I define late in the day as anywhere after early afternoon or really mid-afternoon. If we're napping at any times past that, it's likely that you're going to experience interruptions in your sleep. The last topic we'll touch on as far as habits that influence our sleep: sleeping in a loud environment, sleeping with the TV on or music on, or people yelling around you, or any kind of loud noises that aren't quiet. So now that I've kind of explained how our habits affect our sleep, I'm going to talk to you guys about how to improve the quality of our sleep. First thing we can do is nap briefly. I'm talking no more than 30 minutes. Anywhere after that and you're starting to go into deeper stages of sleep, and you'll wake up feeling more groggy and with the risk of not being able to sleep later that night. Best recommendation is no more than 30 minutes in early afternoon for nap. An additional way that we can improve the quality of our sleep is to be active during the day. We need to exercise. We need to get exposure to sunlight. These things help keep our circadian rhythm and help keep us in balance in terms of sleep. I think one of the most important things that we can do to improve our sleep quality is to actually emphasize how important sleep actually is for our performance. We need to set a bedtime. This is to offset the catch-up myth. If we have a set bedtime and a set wake time, we always get the right amount of sleep. Problem with this lies in the fact that we oftentimes hop off the game after looking at a monitor for a few hours, try to go directly to sleep. And many of us aren't able to fall asleep. Even if we just try to go to bed and close our eyes directly after getting off the game, it doesn't mean we can take a look at Twitter and what's going on with that before we go to bed, because that will keep us awake too. Remember, digital devices affect our sleep by that blue light. Best recommendation is that no screen time. At least 30 minutes prior to bed, you should turn off all electronic media. This is the best way to ensure that you're getting a quality night's sleep. It allows you to wind down and relax after dealing with the troubles of the day. Now, while this is ideal, I know that sometimes no sleep time is not an option. Some gamers, especially at the elite level or the elite streaming level, depend on late night gaming sessions to make their living. Some people have teammates that live on the East Coast and they have to stay up late in order order to get practice in. For these reasons, no screen time isn't always an option. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to promote bad sleep habits, but if this absolutely is not an option for you guys to do no screen time, you might look into gunner or no scope glasses, as these claim to block harsh blue light. I already touched on this as well. We can't consume alcohol, caffeine, tobacco, or any other stimulant of its kind within 3 hours of going to bed, otherwise we might experience problems falling asleep. This is probably one of the most important things. As gamers and as an American society, we like our caffeine. Having it late in the day, especially after mid-afternoon, is a recipe for, some people would probably term insomnia, but I think it's more of just the fact that they're overstimulated. Lastly, this is the most important. The environment in which we sleep in affects our sleep overall the greatest. You can do everything right, every other suggestion that I've done right, but if you're not sleeping in a dark, cool, and quiet place, much like a cave, you're likely not going to get the best quality sleep you can possibly get. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned something about sleep and its impact on performance, and that these tips allow you to improve your performance in esports in some way.